All right, so we're going to do lesson 4.2a. Ew, that's gross. 4.2a. We're going to do standard form. So there are only two forms for equations of parabolas. So there's vertex form, which we learned, and now there's going to be standard form. So the standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. So when we did vertex form, you were able to see what the vertex was, right? Just by looking at it. That's why it's called vertex form. Like, oh, there's the vertex, hk. You can't do that with this form. So you don't start with the vertex. You start by finding the axis of symmetry first. And there's a formula. Here it comes. You got to know this one. This one's very important. The formula for the axis of symmetry is x equals. Remember, axis of symmetry is always a vertical line. X equals a number. Well, how am I going to find that number? This is what you do. You take the opposite of the middle term, negative b, and you divide it by 2a. Okay? All right. Put a little box around that. Maybe some stars, some magic dust. I don't know. Whatever it needs to bring your attention to that. That is the most important part of today's lesson right there. The axis of symmetry. Okay. Now, from there, everything else is going to happen. Okay? From there, I can now find my vertex. The vertex is going to be that same number for my x of my vertex, right? Negative b over 2a will be my vertex x value. And then if I have an x, like let's say x happens to be 2 or negative 1 or 3, how do I find out what y is? You plug it in, okay? You're going to take that number and you're going to do f of negative b over 2a. That's just a fancy way to say plug it in. Plug it in, okay? I had one girl in my last class. She erased that because that bothered her. She didn't like it. She just said, I'm going to remember that it's this number, and I'm going to write plug it in. And she did, and that helped her. Okay? All right. So that's how you find the axis of symmetry and the vertex. And then in order to find the y-intercept, what is x every time when you have a y-intercept? 0. Plug 0 into standard form. And what do you get? Anybody? Plug 0 into here for x.
0.
Nope. Anybody? Don't be shy. C.
What?
Yep.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
There's no x after c. So
That's right.
C.
When you plug 0 into here, you get a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c. You just get c. Okay, and so you plug it in, you get c. All right. Also, last thing, if a is positive, your parabola will open up just like in vertex form. That a from standard form is the same a as vertex form. So actually the only thing that they have in common. And then if a is less than 0, your parabola is going to open down. Okay? So with vertex form, you know, I love vertex form. It's my favorite form. Sorry, standard form. Don't mean to do that to you, but because you can see the vertex right from it. You just pull right out. Standard form, you got to know a formula to do this. So it's a little bit harder. All right, so I've got 3 of them. I'm going to do the first 2 with you, and then I'll let you try number 3, and then I'll do number 4 with you. So are you ready? Yeah. Over here? Okay. So let's look at number 1. Given the function, and I even have it in the right order for you. Okay? Like this is going to be on a quiz where I tell you to find the axis of symmetry first. That's going to be your first step. So we'll go ahead and we'll go x equals negative b, so negative 2, over 2 times a. What's a here? 1. A is the number in front of x squared. It's not 0, it's 1. And so I get negative 2 over 2, so my axis of symmetry is x equals negative 1. Are you all okay with that? Okay, so if you know that formula, you know you're set. That means that my vertex is going to be negative 1. I'm recording here.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. All right.
I figured it wasn't
No,
a
it's
big
okay. It's all right. It's not a big deal. I was just kidding. All right, -1 is the x value. It's okay. Is the x value of my vertex. And to find the y value, we're going to plug it in. Okay? Are you good at plugging numbers in? Let me show you. Yeah, you are. So you get -1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 3. I kind of ran out of room there. You can do this in your head, right?
Wait, what?
So,
Shouldn't be 2 times negative.
yeah, that's what. Man, I'm glad that you guys are here because I did this by myself and I messed up, remember? Yeah, with you guys, I don't mess up. Or I do mess up. You just have to tell me, yeah. Okay, so let's do this. -1 squared is 1. 2 times -1 is -2. And then plus 3. So what do we get? Well, 1 minus 2 is -1. Plus 3 gives me +2. Okay, now let's find the y-intercept. The y-intercept, you don't have to memorize that it's c. Okay, I just want to show you that it is. Just know that you have to plug 0 in. And when you do plug 0 in, you end up getting c every time. You get 3. And now we're ready to graph. So let's graph the 3 pieces of information that I have already. Let's graph our vertex at -1, 2. You don't have to graph the axis of symmetry. I think it helps a lot, though, to graph that line, that vertical line through -1. And then I have a y-intercept of 0, 3. Now, because I graphed that axis of symmetry, I know that there's a reflected point on the other side. So there's also this point right here. So that point that I got for the y-intercept kind of gave me 2 for 1 deal, right? I got 2 points out of it. All right, yeah.
How'd you know to get that last?
The 0, 3? It's right here. The y-intercept? Oh, the axis of symmetry is exactly what it means. It's a symmetric axis that when you reflect a point over it, it'll be the point on that side. Yep. Okay, so now we're ready to graph. 3 points is all I need. And there's my parabola. Okay, so the rest of it is last week's stuff. Okay, same questions. We have our parabola. What's the minimum? What's the lowest y value that this parabola goes to? 2.
2.
You count that? 1, 2. Minimum is 2. Domain? All our numbers. You got one right. Yay. And then the range? Y is greater than or equal to 2. Yep. So if you're starting at 2 and it's all the y values that are above 2, so that would be or equal to 2 also. Okay, yeah.
Is it always going to be less than or equal to and greater than or equal to? Like,
Yes.
So they're always going to be equal to.
Or equal to, exactly. Yep, because it always touches that point right there.
Only if it's like 0, it'll be.
Nope,
no
or equal to.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
All right, let's do number 2. Same problem. Okay, let's do it again. Except this time I know my parabola is going to open which way? Down. Because of the -2 out front of the x squared. Okay, so here we go. Axis of symmetry. X equals -b, so -4 over 2 times a, which is -2. So I get -4 over -4. So the axis of symmetry is x equals +1. X equals 1. All right, so we're going to take that and we're going to plug it in. This is where people forget to, like, how do I find the y value? Well, if I have an x and I need the y, just plug it in. So you get -2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 1. If you need to use your calculator, that's fine. Okay, you have your calculator. But you just get, what do you get? -2 plus 4 plus 1. 3? Yeah, 3. Okay. And then we need to find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when x is 0. And so I plug 0 in, and if you get used to this in standard form, it's just going to be the constant on the end, so 0, 1. All right, if you want it, you can always plug 0 in and do it that way. So you get 0 plus 0 plus 1.
Oh, that's how you count it.
Yeah. All right, so let's graph it. Here we go. I like to graph the vertex first, so I'm going to go 1, 3, +1, 3. right there. And then the y-intercept is at 0, 1. My axis of symmetry splits this parabola in half. And so this y-intercept right here, if I reflect it over the axis of symmetry, I'll get that point also. Yeah. That was the same step that last time you didn't like either. So see this point? I reflect it over here.
That's how you go up though. 'Cause you went up there.
Up where?
So you went up there, and what did you reflect that?
So I graphed my vertex as 1, 3.
Yeah.
I graphed the y-intercept as 0, 1.
Oh, and you.
And I reflected that over the axis of symmetry. Yep. And then this one is opening down, so we probably did it right. I always like to check, like, what does my graph look like? What does my equation look like? It's a -2 out front. This is down 2 over 1. It's perfect. Okay? What's the maximum of this graph?
3.
3, exactly. Maximum is 3. It's the biggest y value. It's always the y value of the vertex, if you ever get stuck. Domain, I'll do that one. All real numbers. And then the range, y is, if it's maximum of 3, then y is less than or equal to 3. Yeah?
Is the maximum always the y?
It is. It's always the y value. Some books will say it's the point.
But it's always.
Always the y value. Yeah, because if you think about it, you know, maximum and min, they're talking about up and down, which is y. Yeah. Yeah.
So can you always just like put like the light bulb turns on in your head, like if it's maximum versus minimum, minimum is always greater than, maximum is always less than.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things to see here. Like this one is this one, and this 3 is this 3. And if it says maximum, it'll be less than or equal to. So there's a lot of things that happen the same every single time. It's pretty good. All right, I'm going to give you a few minutes. I want you to try number 3. Okay? The numbers are a little different. Remember, a negative negative is a positive. So work that one out. Try it on your own. Let's see if you got it. When you plug in a negative for b, it's going to be a negative negative. Okay? So we get x equals positive 12 over 2 times 3. So my axis of symmetry is going to be 12 divided by 6. So x equals 2.
Where did you get from?
So what's the axis of symmetry formula?
Oh,
Negative b over 2 times a.
I see.
Okay, so then the vertex, we're going to take 2 and we're going to plug it in. And you're allowed to use your calculator, okay? All right, so we're going to go 3 times 2 squared is 4, minus 12 times 2 plus 6. All right, so he's done. I will take. Okay, hold on. So then we get negative 6.
What? Oh yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right, the y-intercept is 0. You plug it in, and you get 6. Everyone okay so far? Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's graph the 3 things that we have. I'm going to graph it in black. I don't like this red I'm using. All right, 2, negative 6. Ooh, that's almost off the charts, isn't it? Yeah, almost. 2, negative 6. Axis of symmetry goes through 2. 0, 6. Whoa, way up there. Were you surprised by that? That's okay. And then over across 2 will also be my other point. The axis of symmetry. You love that. You gotta love that. And it helps you to reflect a point over. And so you get this graph. Ew, I hope yours looks better than mine. That's really bad. I don't know what I did there. I like sneezed or something. I don't know. Okay, there you go. Who got that? Anybody get that? Yeah? Ooh, good. A lot of them did. Okay, so now let's find the minimum. The minimum of this graph is the lowest that it goes. The minimum is negative 6. Domain, all real numbers. And the range would be y is greater than or equal to negative 6. Okay? Nice. All right, I bet you could do number 4 by yourself, but I'll do it with you. I'll do it with you just in case, but I bet you could. It's only graphing 2 points, and then you'll reflect and graph the third. So it says graph the parabola given the vertex is negative 3, 2. Negative 3, 2. So there's my vertex. Y-intercept is positive 3. Now, right now, if I were to graph that, I would think that might be a line. I got to do this real quick. Hold on, I'll come back. I might think, oh, that's a line, but it's not, okay? Because remember, we have this axis of symmetry through the vertex. And so what that does is that's going to reflect a point. See how it's a distance of 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I go on that side. Okay, that's why I love the axis of symmetry so much. I'm given a point, but it's like a bonus point that I get. And so when I graph this, you got to do it nice and round. They're always U-shapes, and it goes through those 3 points. Okay.